People often think that when you're on your path of purpose, that everything is easy, and I actually feel it's far from that. I actually feel that what is happening is, from the study of the spiritual journey, and what I've done is kind of taken my left brain and applied it to analyze and understand what we're going through as human beings from a spiritual journey perspective, is that as you walk into your purpose and you start to align, it's going to bring up all your soul lessons. So it's going to trigger all your soul lessons. So as you go, oh wow, my intuition and my passion, inspirations and guidance and signs and synchronicities are pointing me to this destination over here. Let me start walking it. Well, now all the stuff. Now brace yourself, all the stuff. All your limiting beliefs will come up. All your fears will come up. All your norms and expectations that you're trapped inside of will start to come up, because you are going through a metamorphosis, an alchemical process to rise. And to do that, you have to break and crumble away the shell you've been living in, and that is a little uncomfortable to do that, but there's nothing wrong with that. That's like a perfect unfolding.
What if you could access practical tools that not only help you reach your goals, but also bring you closer to your truest version of yourself? Imagine feeling fully aligned with your purpose, your identity, and your soul's plan. That's what soul alignment is all about. Joining us today is Bernadette Logue. She's a spiritual life coach, and we'll explore how soul alignment and energy medicine can bring greater coherence to your mind, body, and spirit. So you're just not hoping or looking for a transformation, you're actually experiencing it in your daily life. I'm Dr. Mary, your host. As a chiropractor, medical intuitive, and energy medicine practitioner, I bring harmony to both your spine and your energy centers to help you create an alignment that allows you to move through life with more grace, ease, and resilience. If you're curious about energy medicine but aren't sure if it's the right path for you, or if you're seeking relief from pain or clarity in your next step, or a deeper connection to your intuition, I invite you to schedule a complimentary discovery call. It's a wonderful way for us to connect, explore your challenges, and see if my approach resonates with your needs. Together, we will uncover how energy medicine can help restore, balance, release emotional blocks, and reconnect you with your authentic self. You're one click away from beginning your journey back to alignment. The QR code will be shared at the end of the show. Stay tuned. B, I really appreciate you sharing with us, and I'll reiterate it, listeners, that transformational healing takes a tremendous amount of courage.
Yeah.
It takes a tremendous amount of courage. And B and I were chatting before we started recording today, and there's a common element that B and I share, in that we both have experienced traveling and living a nomadic lifestyle, and also living in international destinations. And the one thing that we both agree on is that in that kind of a lifestyle promotes the inevitable of sitting in the unknown. And all of us listening will say that sitting in the unknown creates a tremendous amount of discomfort. And so when B is talking about that healing journey, that spiritual journey, is leaning into the discomfort of overriding the limiting belief systems or the big mountains or the challenges that your soul will present to you.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, because I think, like, when you're walking on this path, like, for example, it required for me, and I'd love for other people to listen into what they feel called into and where it makes them feel uncomfortable. For me, it required me to go beyond everything that I had been conditioned into. So everything in my career, in my, like, the money messaging that I received, the risk messaging I received, the societal norms I was raised within, like, everything. I had to go outside of all of it. And I've got, like, it feels like you're out on the edge. Behind you is everybody who's just doing their life in a, what quote unquote normal way, you're having an awakening or a transformation process, and you're doing everything for opposite of what you have done or been before, and it feels like everyone's looking at you going, what on earth are you doing? What on earth are you doing out here? And so this thing to go, when you said it takes a tremendous amount of courage to do the transformational healing, what I've come to realize after over a decade of working with clients on this is that the reason that it takes that much courage is because you have to overcome your humanity, because your humanity does not want pain. And it is temporarily painful to look at the things that are really the root causes of what is going on in our life, in our circumstances, relationships, money, health, or inside of us, fear, stress, anxiety. And so your human nature is you're wired to avoid pain. And so people are like, I'm self-sabotaging. Like, I know what I need to heal. I know what I need to address. But I just don't do it. It's because you don't do it because every part of you is wired to not go into an experience of pain. So you have to bring in your soul self, your aware self, to soothe and love and nurture and encourage the small self to go where it's painful. Because I always say, you can have temporary pain and permanent, lifelong relief, or you can just have lifelong pain. And so just choose, because those are the two paths. We either rip the band-aid off, address and move forward, or we stay inside the soup of the pain and the suffering. And I think one of the big challenges we have is, I use a bell curve example. You have a bell curve. The majority of people in society are inside, or certainly in Western society, are inside the middle of the bell curve where things are comfortable, but they're painful, but they're comfortable enough to keep you there. And because they're comfortable enough, you've got enough to soothe you: shopping, entertainment, sex, drugs, food, anything and everything you could imagine that I'll just numb it a little bit. I'll numb that void a little bit. I'll numb that stress a little bit. I'll have a drink. I'll do the things. And when you're in that middle, there's often not enough a leverage point, because you do have the means and the lifestyle to be able to numb yourself out. And having to sit with your own pain, and also, this is a big thing, not look to someone else to fix it for you, which we are conditioned to do. I need to, for example, I don't know how many doctors and therapists and osteopaths and chiropractors and things I went to get my body healthy. And all of them helped, but none of them could fix the real root of the issue for me, which was the existential crisis that was going on inside of me. And no amount of anything from the outside was going to resolve that until I gave myself what I really needed. And then there can be a beautiful symphony between yourself and healers. But until you address the real root of it, then nothing changes. And so it's just so much more courageous to be willing to look at the things inside of ourselves to make that move forward. And it's not comfortable. I always love to quote Kurt Blackson, who said, I read or heard him say this once, is that it is neither convenient nor comfortable to follow your soul's calling, or something to that degree, language like that. It's not convenient or comfortable, and that is just truth.
Yeah, and there's so much wisdom that can be acquired when we really do tap into the somatic wisdom that lives within us. Our body is so brilliant beyond our wildest imagination as far as being able to process and to integrate quantum information. And that's designed to help us, if you will. I don't believe in the linear concept of evolution, but it creates a higher state or frequency for harmonizing and healing. So, I'd like to share, I know that you're an author of 4 books, and I want to make sure that I rattle off the titles, because this is going to help provide a little bit of an understanding for everybody listening in how you've created your approach or your methodologies. And so first we have Unleash Your Life, 3-step transformational coaching method, Master Your Mind, 6-step process, The Great Undoing, The Soul Odyssey, 11-stage blueprint and maps. So listeners, what I said at the very beginning, and just welcoming Bea to the show, she's known for practical, easy to implement steps in order for you to unlock the wisdom, the information of what's at the root cause of whatever discordance you may be experiencing, whether that be physical, emotional, mental, energetic, spiritual, you name it.
Yes, I love that discordance.
Oh, yes. And you know what we are integrating or not integrating within our energetics gets mirrored back to us.
Yes.
How wonderful that is.
The out-picturing, the painful out-picturing of what is within. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so share with us. You've got 4 unique psycho-spiritual life coaching methodologies. Unpack that.
So really, really simply put, I walked a path and I learned as I walked, and then I made stuff for other people to use what I learned. So there was not really any I'm going to develop these frameworks and I'm going to build, my business is literally the result of me just walking around the planet, learning, growing, healing, contributing, doing my thing and building the things as I went that had worked for me and had worked for clients I'd worked with. So the books go like this. The first book I wrote when I was not leaving my job, I was just having a spiritual awakening, and I wrote Pinch Me, How Following the Signals Change My Life. And that is about divine guidance, signs and synchronicities. Okay, so that is like awakening to these signs and synchronicities. That was mind-blowing. I wrote that book when I was a baby. I didn't know, I had never written anything. It's hilarious. But I wrote that book with so much passion. The second book, I had left my job. I was out on a limb. I was facing all my fears. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? This is actually really scary. To trust in divinity, trust in something you cannot see and go against everything you know and the truth of what it's like to do that. So that second book is going out on a limb. The third book I wrote is called Unleash Your Life, and that's where I put in what I saw as absolutely key for anyone who wanted to create change, to go through those 3 steps. And then the fourth book, which I've just written, my last book in the last 2 years, was Your Soul Journey Simplified. And that is really the pivot, the mountaintop of the work that I'm here to do. And Spirit has given me a big kick up the butt about 18 months ago in a quest and said, you shall not leak your energy on anything that is not this. This is what you are here to do. This is your incarnation purpose. This is why you're on the planet. Now you will focus solely on this. It's okay, got it. Got it. So those 4 books, but the methodologies that go alongside that, Unleash Your Life methodology is a transformational coaching method, and that matches with the book. Master Your Mind is how to rewire your belief programming from a psycho-spiritual point of view. So it's honoring who you really are as a spirit incarnate on the planet, but you've got to deal with humanity. You cannot get around it. There's no being, I'm energy and I'm spirit, and I'm just here to be light and love, and then ignore the fact you're in a human body with psychology and a nervous system. It ain't going to work. The third methodology is the Great Undoing. And that is get ready to lose everything that you think is you and is not you and is not true. Because you ain't finding yourself until you let go of everything that isn't you. And most people won't do it because they're attached to their identity. And their identity is a small self, but your soul self is trying to get in the driver's seat of your life. And she, he, they will not stop until they get in the driver's seat. So everything that is discordant, or what I call misalignment, is going to become very apparent to you at the point your soul starts stirring, because they want to undo everything that is not you and that is not true in order to get in the driver's seat. And this methodology, this Great Undoing, is really about that dissolution process and for you to merge with what you really belong to: source, creator, divinity, God, universe, one energy. And then the final one, which is the work I do now and has built all of my mentoring upon, is Soul Odyssey. And that is all of this wrapped up. It's 11 stages of your soul journey playing out in your life. Your soul wants you to come home to your true self, live what you're really here for, and be your fully expressed, awesome, magical unicorn self. And inside that, we do the Master Your Mind, the Great Undoing, the Unleash Your Life. We do all of it. And it's in that beautiful container that you get to let go of everything else and just be this beautiful light energy being that you are. So that's the summary of all of that.
That sounds simply magical, and I want to apologize because I thought I was sharing the methodologies and not sharing the book. So I really appreciate you clarifying.
You're doing a beautiful job. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So there's something in there that I don't think that the listeners are going to be familiar with, and that is Psyche, and that's addressing some of the limiting belief systems. And I know that you've got some training in that. Can you share a little bit about that process and
Yeah,
how
so
it works?
Psych-K, interestingly, Psych-K is not something that I'm using in that program, but here is what I do. My Master Your Mind methodology, I built off probably, like, at the time I built that, I'd been doing maybe 5 years of one-on-one coaching, and I could see exactly that every single one-on-one client I had worked with was literally going through and had to go through the same thing. It did not matter what had happened to them. It didn't matter if there was family conditioning, religious conditioning, money conditioning, whatever it was the same process. And so I took what I had seen from that and I built this Master Your Mind methodology. Now, with that, which is a psychological reframing process, and it uses little techniques that are familiar for people that know CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, but I team that with EFT, emotional freedom techniques, for the nervous system, for the energetic rebalancing, and obviously breath work and meditation and things are all combined in there. The reason I trained in Psych-K is someone that I knew was unwell and I had no answers to help them. And I had been on the search for answers for them for quite some time, parallel to this spiritual awakening. That person was actually the trigger for me to have gone and done the energy healing in the first place, cycling back to what I said earlier. That's why I was so willing to secretly go and do energy healing when I thought everyone around me would think I was cuckoo, because I was actually on the search for answers for someone else. Now I understand that their soul contract with me was partly to bump me onto my path. But when I still didn't have answers, I really wanted to learn about Psych-K, and I had actually reached out to Bruce Lipton. And I had asked him about, what do I do in this situation? And he said to me, go and learn Psych-K. So I trained in Psych-K for that purpose, and I love it. But here's the reason I don't do Psych-K sessions, even though I trained in it, and I don't do energy. I trained in theta healing, and I also don't do theta healing sessions for anyone anymore. I love both of them. They're amazing. And we need practitioners globally doing this for people all the time. But the reason I didn't go down that path was I realized that people were coming to me and saying, fix me. And I went, no. Like, every cell in my body revolted against it and said no, because someone would come and say, can you fix me? Can you just do that thing to me? And then they would come back again a month later and say, can you do that thing? I'm like, no. Every part of my being was saying, like, you need to transfer to them enablement so that they can learn something that they can take and not come back to you. And then as they use that and they're enabled to do that for themselves, they can then give that to their children and their friends and their And so for me, that just is a very specific part of my path, is not to do that work, is to do it in this way. So that's where Psych-K fit into that model. So I love, like, Psych-K, EFT, these methodologies I've created, and then teaming those with spiritual wisdom. So I've studied A Course in Miracles for coming on probably like 9-10 years, just for my own personal spiritual foundation. I love the Tao Te Ching, other things like that have just kind of, we each are learning as we go on our path. I'm sure all your listeners understand too. They've read books, they've learned things, and then it kind of cooks and marinates inside of you, and it just generates this beautiful, singular, unique perspective as you peer out into reality, and you call it life. You're seeing it through the collection of all the things that you've gathered and how that is resonating with who you are as a being. And then that helps you to produce in the world whatever it is that you want to contribute. I always think we never land with the information and people and methodologies by mistake, right? We could be anywhere on the planet. Like, how am I here with you, right? How does this happen? Like, there's always magic at play to push us, nudge us, guide us, pull us forward into the spaces that we need to be. As I love to think about the hero's journey, which is very similar to Soul Odyssey, is that we're walking through this valley, and how is it we end up at each one of these points? And it's by absolute miracle that we end up at these points, because we're not controlling, like, The seconds, like if you arrived a second too soon or a second too late, you wouldn't have met your life partner. Or if you were, if you'd chosen that door or this door, then you wouldn't have met your best friend, or you wouldn't have this or you wouldn't have that. And when you look at your life, like just mind blowing to me.
I agree, especially when you come from a paradigm and a belief system that you're actually strategic, and you analyze and you execute and you deliver what you think is your plan that you're in control of, and you're far from in control of it. But the ego mind and the subconscious mind are driving everything that's happening, and not to your highest self. And not to benefit to your highest self. So it gives me great joy that you're applying these methodologies, and more importantly, holding space for women. I think that there is a big shift happening collectively for the essence, the feminine essence that we bring. And I'm really happy to be part of it, as you are as well. And I hope to, plant some positive seeds so that, the outcome is 10 times more power, 100 times, 1,000 times more powerful than what we intend.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think that there are certain awakenings happening in different ways, that I think the younger generation that's on the planet right now has been born into a time where it's very natural to own all the parts of yourself and express all parts of yourself, and a different time to perhaps those of us who are in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. I've worked with clients who are 19 through to 91. And there's a real coming home to the soul self, particularly I see in women, particularly in the 50, 60, 70, 80 range. I mean, I've got clients who are like identifying their purpose and now like breaking free and living it in their 80s. And it's like watching magic happen. It's so beautiful. But that was not the culture or the time that we were raised in. That was not the messaging. We're conditioned to be in the small self, which, the human journey is. When I say the small self, I mean the conditioned mind, the limiting beliefs, the fears, the expectations, the norms, the emotions, the being down here, and the identity without knowing who we are as divine beings, cosmic beings, spiritual beings. And once we start to own that, we have to learn how to reconcile that with this small human self and make a shift to start to align ourselves. And that really is the core of what I'm about, is people getting to align and integrate this really much bigger truth. I love Dr. Sue. We talked about Dr. Sue earlier, and she was on your podcast recently. I love in one of her meditations, she says, I am here to reveal a greater truth. And just like saying that, all the hairs on my neck stand up, because that is really what is going on. We are here to reveal this greater truth of who we are as spiritual beings, and to live and walk in it while we're on the earth. And another thing that I've noticed is a challenge point, and is a great opportunity for people, is we go like this. Oh, I know that. I read that in a book and I know that. And then we don't live it. Because actually living it takes it's a whole other thing. Like, have you been out there? You've been out there in this world. Like, it's a whole other thing. It's good to do it when you read it in a book and you're on your yoga mat and you're in your thing, but you go out in the world, immediately it's all on, the game's on. And to walk in the light, your light, and to be that amid people that are traumatized, and people that are in small self, and people that are projecting, and society and all of it is a deal, man. Like, it is. And I think that's when you see someone and they are being it, that is like holy. That's the holy instant right there. And that's what you want to consider for yourself, is not how do I become that. It's not becoming anything. It is who you are. And I have to choose every day to embody that when I get triggered. Right? It's when, I get a choice to make in those moments. And it's about having the toolkits to be able to be that person in those moments. And I think when you do that, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm different. That's the identity shift. I actually did that differently in the practical moment, in the heat of the moment.
I love the fact that you are really creating the space for empowerment. And when we do align with the soul's purpose, and when we do allow for full expression of self, and we are full of self, it is self with a capital S. That is something to celebrate. Celebrate not only within ourselves, but to also rejoice when we see it in other women.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for showing up in your essence and reminding everyone as to who they are and the potential that they have from within.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Radiance. I love that word. And thank you also to you, because you radiate and embody that as well. It's very, very clear sitting in your presence and in your energy that is absolutely what's happening. And I think for people listening, I always love to just get this in any opportunity I can, is that, like, you're not here randomly. You're not here walking around on the planet inside a body by chance. This is not random. If your soul didn't choose to come with a plan and a purpose, you just would not be here, full stop. And the fact you're still here means the plan and purpose is underway and it's happening, and it wants you to let go of everything that is heavy and discordant, as you say, misaligned, that is not you, to let yourself be free of it, and then to walk into everything that is purposeful. And as much as we talk about how challenging this is, life is filled with magic everywhere. I love the Roald Dahl quote. I'm probably about to butcher it, but it goes something like this. Oh my gosh, it's such a good quote, I don't want to butcher it. Look at the whole world with glittering eyes, because magic is found in the most unlikely of places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. Something like that. Secrets are hidden in the most unlikely places. Like, you can walk around in the world, and if your eyes and your conditioning and your mind says, you know, I'm not good enough, and I'm a bad person, or I haven't got this figured out, or I should be somewhere else by now, or how come I haven't got it all together, or I'm lost, or the world is full of mistrusting people, or there's not enough to go around, or whatever it is, you are going to see that. 100% that is going to get outpictured. You're going to see it. And then if you walk around with life is filled with magic and miracles, there is love everywhere, and life is wanting to surprise me every moment of every day, you are going to see it. You are going to see it. Like, I catalogued for 18 months the signs and synchronicities before I put all of that into the first book. And it was so mind-blowing. I'm like, how is it that everyone is not talking about this all the time? That life is winking at us and doing this magical, energetic dance with us all the time. How is it not that there's not like entire communities or universities, or how is this not even being taught in school? Why are we not teaching this to our children? Like, it's just...
Those are some really good questions.
Yeah, it's just mind-blowing. Like, even the other day, the most mind-blowing thing occurred, and I could not believe it. I was like, there was a thread of energy between something that happened like 3 to 4 years ago and the present moment, and it was so shocking to me. It was like life was, I could just imagine spirit just laughing and winking and going, yeah, see how threaded everything is together, and how much we have your back and how much we're guiding you. And I really encourage people to think about at least one time in their life where they've experienced providence, where they've experienced divine guidance, where they've landed in something and they've thought, I could not have done this for myself if I tried. Because those are the moments you get to hang your hat on it, and you get to go, never forget that. Never forget that. Because those moments are the gold that help us keep that faith in something bigger. And that doesn't mean life is all roses and glories, because we all signed up for a ride called life, and we knew there were going to be challenges.
But B, those are some really practical tools, because all of us listening have those tangible moments that are ingrained within our memory, ingrained within the cells within our tissues. And we can call upon those memories to elicit the hormonal responses, to bring and to elevate our emotional state back up to where it needs to be more fully present in our essence in the moment.
Yeah.
Much gratitude for you, B.
Thank
Much
you.
gratitude.
Same to
Thank
you.
you so
Same
much.
to you. And I would just say this final PS on that, and that is something that I think we both know is really important, and I've heard you reference it multiple times, and that is that if we have a dysregulated nervous system, life becomes really, really difficult. And so when we're wanting to psychologically heal or spiritually align, if we don't address our emotional state and our energy state, it's like trying to gun the engine on your car with the handbrake on. It is really challenging. So anything that's somatic work, breath work, nervous system healing, all of that stuff, this was the thing that I did not get early enough in my journey. And when I got it, things really started to settle in and shift. Is that is so important if you're on a spiritual path, psychological healing, physical healing, anything, is getting that state, getting your body into that state, because obviously the energy is moving through us, right? The divine life force flow of energy is trying to move through us. Our intuition is trying to move through us. When we're dysregulated, everything's off. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the somatic intelligence that lies within all of us really should and can and has the potential of regulating our central nervous system, including the autonomic division as well. And I think for those of us that are looking to do or have experienced a spiritual bypass where we just kind of have this awakening that bypasses the physical body, I believe that the greatest healing and the greatest transformation is when we live within our human home. So that's a wonderful reminder, B. I really appreciate that. Once again, I have a tremendous amount of gratitude in how you're showing up in the world, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Such a pleasure to be here.